My name is Dr. Samuel Keys, and I'm a professor of theology at JP Catholic. I grew up in Mississippi, grew up Southern Baptist. I'm kind of a typical case. Over the years, for all sorts of reasons, I ended up kind of drifting away from the church of my childhood. I went to college in Virginia, and the first time I got connected with an Anglican church was in Hungary, of all places, when I was in Europe. Over the next several years, just in terms of my theology and my thinking, it became more and more Catholic. I kind of fell in with the sort of Catholic wing of Anglicanism. At the time, there was not anything keeping me back. Even then, I was starting to realize, I'm not sure if this works, kind of being Catholic without being Catholic kind of thing. What I realized in the end was that all the things I liked about Anglicanism were actually Catholic. I have friends who, in some ways, are very Catholic, and they would love to be Catholic, but they would have to give up their identity as a priest. For me, it was just a matter of recognizing, whatever certainty I thought I had about my ordination, it's less important than the unity of the church. So ultimately, for me, it was kind of a pride thing. It did mean, having to act as a layman, to enter the church as a layman, and just full stop. I mean, there's nothing kind of conditional about that. Typically, Rome expects former Anglican priests coming into the church to spend about 2 years in formation before we can become Catholic priests. And so 1 week, I was in my final week at the school where I was the chaplain, I was Father Keys, and then the next week I was a Catholic layman. We were received into the church through the ordinariate. So the ordinariate is kind of like a diocese. It's just that it's unlike a typical diocese, which is a pretty closely defined geographical area. The ordinariate has a jurisdiction which covers all of North America, but it has a very strong mission for evangelism, and it does that with a very distinct kind of emphasis on what we would call the beauty of holiness. So a kind of vision of the Catholic faith that is lived out, both in the world, but also in the beauty of the liturgy and that kind of liturgical culture, which is just so central to what we do. I like teaching at JP Catholic, first because the school is not in any way embarrassed about its Catholic identity. We seek to teach within the magisterium of the church. Through the ordinariate, I'm blessed now to be back on the journey to becoming a priest, this time in the Catholic Church. I'm currently at the diaconate stage, so I'm a transitional deacon, and I have about 2 months before I'm ordained to the priesthood. The church should be presenting an alternative that sort of reveals the world's worldliness, that it kind of reveals how kind of hollow these other forms of life are. And so I think that's really one of the things that's so cool here about what students are doing. It is trying to do that. It's like trying to study theology.